to talk about how to get a job after taking CS50. I'm not sure if you already did CS50 or CS50 Python or CS50 Web, which is another course we're going to discuss today. But the main idea is to explain what courses you should take, some tips to build a strong resume, create your portfolio, and also how can you practice interviews and apply for jobs. So the whole process to get a job. All right. Before I actually start, I want to talk a little bit about me. So as I told you, my name is Giovanna. I am one instructor here at Doors Coding School. Besides giving classes, so Doors we give classes for more than 100 students in more than 5 years. We also work as an agency, so we have some web developers that work with us and we get some projects. And besides that, we have our YouTube channel with more than 90,000 subscribers and almost 3 million views as well. The topics we're going to cover will be pretty much understanding the employer's perspective and how can we solve all those topics. So building the resume, as I mentioned, creating a portfolio, having real life experience, practice for interviews, and how to apply for jobs. So let's start with understanding the employer's perspective. Basically, the person doesn't know you, so a company needs to know if the candidate is a good fit professionally. So if the person can work in a team and if the person has good communication skills, so if the person knows how to explain your thoughts and why you're coding and also solving problems. Besides that, we need to verify the ability to build something real. So if you know how to code, basically, and evaluating project management and organizational abilities. So if you are an organized person, if you have a good writing in code, so not only delivering projects, but also building something that others will understand. And those are the concerns pretty much that can impact the hiring process. And now we're going to start addressing some solutions for those potential problems. So the first thing we need to cover is to craft a standout tech resume. So in order to do that, it's important that you create a portfolio that highlights your skill and achievements effectively. In order to do that, you should include some important achievements you have in educational level. So for example, taking a course like CS50, it's an amazing course to put in your resume because it's widely popular among programmers. So if you have a certificate from Harvard, anyone will know that you know how to code. You have some knowledge in this area. So that's why we usually recommend taking those renowned courses like CS50X and CS50 Web or CS50 Python for this initial part in here. So an initial course where you can learn the fundamentals of programming. And once you have this initial idea of how to code, then you're going to learn practical skills that you will be using while you're working. So in CS50 Web, you're going to face a little bit how is the daily life of a programmer. Doing those courses are amazing, not only because they are hard, but also because they have many different projects to solve. So CS50X, we're going to build some projects and CS50 Web as well. So you're not only watching a lecture or reading something, you're actually putting your hands on practice to complete the course. And it's hard. So it will be challenging, but you can complete the course with no problems, as well as CS50 Web. So with CS50X or CS50 Python, you're going to learn the fundamentals of programming. So how to do functionals, conditionals, loops, file manipulation, regular expressions, and more. And this is amazing. So you can have strong fundamentals to learn the other things that will be required, this knowledge. And then at the end of CS50X, you're going to start learning the initial concepts of front end. So front end is the visual part of a website. So everything you see in a website, like a button, a text, an image, it's made in the front end part. And for the front end, we're going to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So this is one of the projects we're going to do for CS50. Then we're going to learn more about the backend, which means the logic behind a website. So for example, when you log in a social media, when you need to put your username and your password, the backend is the one that will kind of check if your credentials are correct. So this part works with manipulating databases, working with user experience. So it's another important skill that here with CS50X, we're going to learn the beginning of that. And we're going to build two projects as well. One like this one to display the birthdays of every person we have in the table. And another one called finance, which we're going to build a platform where we can quote stocks, buy, sell, have a history. So we're going to have kind of a wallet to buy stocks. And it's pretty interesting because it simulates a little bit websites that exist nowadays. Once we complete that, I know most of the students, they feel that it's enough, but actually this is just the beginning. If you want to be ready to work as a developer, you should continue with the following up course called CS50 Web. This course will give you the credentials to be a web developer. So you're going to learn everything you need to know to start working. So everything that is required. Of course, in the future, you will need to learn more, but those other extra things you're going to learn, you can learn while you're working. But here right now, you're going to learn everything that it's needed. So again, we're going to continue learning the advanced concepts of front end like HTML and CSS. So we're going to clone Google, as you can see here in my page. Then we're going to learn in more details the backend. So instead of using Flask, we're going to use a more sophisticated library of Python, which has named Django. And we're going to build a website like this one, which we're going to clone Wikipedia. Then we're going to focus on even more in the part of the backend, learning how to manipulate the data. So here we're going to learn, we're going to build our own e-commerce. So it's pretty interesting, very similar to a real world website. So here you can also display your knowledge. Then we're going to complete the course learning some other advanced things in JavaScript. So we're going to learn we're going to build a Gmail or Outlook platform, something that you can send and receive emails pretty much. Again, another interesting project to display in your portfolio. And finally, you're gonna build a project from scratch that it's kind of a final exam where you're gonna use all the knowledge you gained during those two courses. So you're gonna build something pretty similar to Twitter or X, like it's called nowadays. And here you're gonna allow people to post, to edit their posts, to give like, comment, to follow other profiles. So it's pretty interesting to build something widely used as well nowadays. And you also have the final project, but these are the main projects we're going to build. And with those projects, you should not only upload on your GitHub, having a good instructions to see your project on your GitHub, but also you should display to the world. So this is what we call deploying a website, because the websites we're going to build, they only exist in our machines but you should find a way. Not it's not that hard, but I can give you some instructions as well on how to deploy the website so other people can check it out and play with the things you built. So this is one example of one of our students. He did the e-commerce, as I mentioned earlier, but he added his own style. So here it's a proof of his knowledge in programming, especially because you can see that it looks nice. The person were careful when designing this website. Also, the logic behind, so all the idea of buying those items to add in the watch list, to give comments, reviews. The student did all of those parts. Of course, it was something mandatory for CS50 Web, but he put a little bit more effort to actually use this project to show his knowledge. So here it is available so anyone can check it out. And later I will share this presentation with you all so you can take a look as well. Then, so not only creating the project, you should also put this live. So the employers that might hire you or actually are looking for your resume, they can take a look at your website and play around. So they can be surprised with the CSS you're adding, with the logic you implemented in the backend. So you're giving the opportunity for the employers to play around with your website and see how good you are in building the things you decided to do. So this is another thing we recommend our students to add in their resume. So not only the projects you're going to build, but also the link. Besides that, you can also add in your resume some keywords or action verbs where it explains a little bit more the knowledge you have. So basically at the end of CS50 Web, you're going to be prepared to work in 3 areas, or front-end development, or back-end development, or full-stack development. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this webinar, the front-end development is pretty much the visual part of the website. So you can mention that you know how to work with responsive design, which means creating websites for both desktop and mobile. Working with client-side scripting and user authentication, so the part of creating forms where people can register. Then for backend development, so the part that is not visual, the logic behind, you can use you're gonna learn how to work with APIs, which is something on demand nowadays, how to manipulate databases, how to work with object-oriented programming, data structures, and algorithms, which are things people learn in the introductory courses such as CS50X or CS50 Python. And also the full stack development, which is pretty much a mixture of front end and back end. So you can work on both sides pretty much. So here you can mention that you know how to test using CI/CD, this test-driven development. Some DevOps practice, which is pretty much deploying the website to live, so the process that I mentioned earlier, and building web applications. So this is pretty much what you can add in your resume. So moving forward a little bit more to the next topic, but it's still using the same idea I mentioned for the projects of CS50 Web and CS50X. It would be amazing if you don't create only a resume, but also create a website portfolio. Because we need to have in mind that probably the first person we're going to have a contact will be someone from the HR, someone that it's not so, not so, doesn't have so many contact, it's not so familiar with programming. So if you can display your projects in a nicer way, in a simpler way, in a way that someone from HR can understand and remove this obstacle, it would be amazing. And the best thing you can do that is creating a portfolio like this one I'm sharing here in the screen. I'm gonna also display here. Pretty much this is my old portfolio where I put my resume, my YouTube channel, my GitHub with all my projects in there. But the different thing here that always help our students to find their jobs is the idea of recording your project. So recording a short video, 3-5 minutes length, where you explain the things you're doing in your project. So kind of surfing over your website, explaining the features you implemented. So this video will show your technical skills as well as your communication skills, which is extremely important in this area of programming. Because coding is something that most of the programmers can do, but explaining your code, and especially when you're working in a team, it's an important skill that you can display once you record the video. So this is another suggestion we give to the students. How can you do that, right? So I prepare here kind of a step-by-step. So first you should record the videos you're going to build, the projects you're going to build on CS50 Web or any other project you did. So download OBS, which is a software for free. You can download in your computer or Loom. It's another platform. Record a short video displaying the project, showing how it works. Upload on YouTube and add a thumbnail. I know my thumbnails are not that good, but just display kind of a summary of the things you're gonna do and put your face right there as well. Then, after you record all your videos, you should create a website portfolio. You don't need to build from scratch. You don't need to hard code the website. So you can use something like Wix, which is a software. Actually, it's a platform where you can build websites pretty easily. So it will take you like 5 minutes to create an account and have a website on your hands. So this way, with this website, use the suggestions from Wix to build the website as well. Add your projects and video, add the GitHub link and your CV as well, so anyone can see here all your experience pretty much. So once we prepare this initial part, so once you did your part in learning how to code, you record your videos, you put this in a standout resume, you put it in a portfolio, then it's time to start gaining some real life experience. Because I know doing CS50 Web is an amazing course, as I mentioned. You're going to build multiple projects that simulate a little bit like how it will be a life of a programmer. But working for other projects it's a good idea. How can you have this extra experience beside doing courses? You can apply for some volunteer options. So here I have 3 websites that are widely used around the world. You can apply. You're gonna participate of a project where you're going to implement a feature, and then you can display in your portfolio that you helped. Besides that, you can get some recommendation and referrals about your actions to solve the problem they might have. So it's very powerful, this idea of working with others. So using those opportunities to start gaining this experience. And I can tell you about one of my students, one of my past students here, Ryan. He did all of the things that I mentioned. So he did CS50X, he did CS50 Web, he recorded his videos, he had an amazing resume, but he also heard me out and he decided to take this volunteer opportunity at Men's Meals on Wheels of Cheyenne. And at that time, he started working with this idea of creating a project in this volunteer opportunity. And with time, he was able to get a job, and now he works at Microsoft. So sometimes you need to give kind of a step back to do something for free, and then with this recommendation, referrals, and experience, you can achieve better jobs. So this is one of our main suggestions. If you don't like that much this idea of volunteer opportunities, or if you don't find one that interests you, you can also look for open source projects, because open source projects, you're gonna contribute with others, and you're gonna demonstrate collaboration, problem solving, and real world coding experience. So again, this is an amazing opportunity to collaborate and gain, again, some recommendations and improve your networking. So you can find out some open source projects on GitHub, or if you're interested, you can also reach us out and contribute at Coding Doors. Our platform is an open source project, so we built this platform, but we have others that help us out to implement a feature like creating a new page, adding a pop-up, something like that, where you can display in your portfolio again that you did something real, not only for learning purposes, but also something that people use. So, well, besides that, so besides learning, improving your resume and experience, now it's time to start thinking about mastering technical interviews. For this aspect, you should start doing some coding challenges, because usually an interview in tech will be pretty much a question about something in programming, so algorithms or something about front end or back end, and you need to solve this problem with a time limit, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. Someone will be watching you and you need to explain your thought process. So here, using those websites are an amazing opportunity again to practice, because here you have short questions, focus on this aspect of finding a job. So here you should use all the resources you have, especially because they are free. So the part of practicing, it's important, but how you should practice that? Actually, why you should practice these interviews? Because you're gonna build more confidence. If you think through, practice makes perfect. So if you start practicing, you're gonna reduce your anxiety, because you're going to feel more comfortable with something you are already familiar with. So here it's amazing also because you can identify your weaknesses. So for example, I'm doing some exercises, you can see you're good in functions, but you have some gaps in while loop, so then you can focus on that. So it's better to identify this before the interview, right? And also receiving feedback. So the main idea of practicing this is to practice with someone else that can give you some feedbacks and you can improve. So for example, oh, I didn't like the way you explained that. Maybe you can improve this other aspect. So it's a great opportunity to be fine when you're in the interview. And what are the steps we suggest you to take? So first, to choose the right partner. So select a peer or a mentor, someone that is in this environment, or a friend that is also looking for a job, or someone like a mentor, a programming mentor that can help you out. Then prepare the questions. So select the questions you're going to work. I don't know, I'm gonna work with different concepts at the same day. So prepare those questions before and set realistic scenarios. So prepare an environment, a quiet environment where you can focus directly on that, and set time limits. So while you're practicing those exercises, you should set, oh, I'm going to solve this in 10 minutes, and this is it. 10 minutes will cover the time you're reading the exercise, you're thinking about how to solve, and you're explaining your solution to your peer. So you should mimic this And finally, rotate roles, because as I mentioned, you should work kind of a pair programming. So in the beginning, I'm gonna start doing the exercise and your peer will be watching you in silence and seeing your solution. Then rotate roles, so you're gonna learn also from your friend doing the exercise and also understanding the steps you can take, how the interviewer will be as well. So doing mocking some this idea of doing interviews for practice is an amazing opportunity again to be prepared. And if you don't have any friend, you don't know where to find a mentor, here you can find in this platform called Premp. So I put here the link, you can open it up. There, this website is specialized in mock interviews, so you should check it out. All right. Now we're almost at the end of the webinar, so now that we have the knowledge, we have the projects, we have a strong portfolio, and we did our part in studying for the interviews, now you should focus on applying for jobs. So the main platforms you can find, network, and apply for jobs are LinkedIn, Indeed, Levels FYI, and if you're looking for a startup, you can check Y Combinator. Especially for people living in US, Y Combinator is an amazing platform to find startups. And usually those companies, they are more open for entry-level jobs. So again, I will send this presentation later where you can check it out, all of those platforms. And the main idea is that you should apply and feel comfortable with rejection. So usually the rejection rate it's high, so you should apply for a lot of jobs and do this with discipline. So every day I'm gonna apply for 2, 3 jobs, and then I'm gonna check the status of that to see if I got an interview or not. You have to feel comfortable. You're gonna be rejected, so try it out. Put your feet in the water and see how it will be. Check how the market is. And this idea of applying for many jobs, you should keep track of each application. So we recommend doing this spreadsheet where you put the role, the company, the city, the link of the job offer where you find it, and the status, if you were rejected, if you got an interview, if you got the job as well. So this way you're always checking how it goes. And I can tell you by my own experience, all of our students, they got their job after a while because they were always applying. And at some point they got their job. So it's super normal. We have to try it out. Then I believe this is pretty much the part of applying for jobs. You are ready, you have all your portfolio, all your knowledge. So doing that, you will certainly get a job. All right. Now, getting at the end of this webinar, I want to talk a little bit about all the things that I mentioned here at Doris Cloning School we cover. So if you feel that you tried out CS50X and CS50 Web and it was too hard to do by yourself, if you feel that you need some help to build your portfolio and record the videos, to do any of the things that we mentioned, to mock interview with others, to create more network, we cover all of that in our bootcamp. So our bootcamp is a 3-month program. Let me show you here. It's a 3-month program where we're going to start at CS50 Python to learn the fundamentals of programming. So here you don't need to have no prior experience in programming. You can start right away to build this solid foundation. Then once we learn that, we're going to learn the initial concepts of web development. So how to manipulate databases, how to build a simple website. And then we're going to attack the most important course, which is CS50 Web. And we have the prerequisites done because we did the introductory course. And here it's more hands-on practice because we're going to build 5 projects and more. So with all of that, at the end of the bootcamp, you're going to have the knowledge, you're going to have a consistent portfolio and resume. During the bootcamp, we'll help you recording, creating the website, creating the thumbnails, all of the things we mentioned here, we discussed. For the students that want to practice interview, the whole bootcamp is based on pair programming. So during the bootcamp, we're going to work as a group, but also there are times you're going to be working with a pair. So this is an amazing opportunity to feel how it is to have someone watching you while you're coding and while you're explaining your process. And then working the other way around. So listening to another solution, having different points of view. And meanwhile, I will be working with all of the pairs to see how it goes, to instruct better. So during those whole 3 months, you're gonna be working with someone else and you're gonna be more practicing this idea of interview. So we covered that aspect as well. The part of applying, we also help our students in creating this spreadsheet. So the main idea is that get inside of our bootcamp and you're going to achieve the final ultimate, which is work as a developer, right? We are, most of the people, they're not here only to learn, they also want to start earning money. So we want to focus on that. And this is what we do here at Doris Coding School. So for those who are here and until the end of this countdown timer, we're gonna have a special offer. So using our coupon, webinar coupon that I will be sending at the end of the meeting, where you can have 10% off the total price. So for those who want to have one-time payment is $1,000, and with the 10% off, you're going to pay $900. Or if you cannot afford paying one time, you can pay in 3 times, but the price is a little bit higher because of the taxes. So it's $360 3 times. And with all of that, after clicking here and confirming the payment, you're going to join our community that already contains some students, past students as well, so you can ask them about to get their testimonials, to double check that they enjoy their experience with us. And on September the 3rd, we start our classes and we change all your career pretty much. The classes, they happen twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, and you can decide what time you prefer. We have 2 groups, one more focused for the Europe time, which is 6 p.m. CET, or for those more focused on US, so at 6 p.m. Pacific time, the same time that the webinar started today. And the time of the class is 1 hour and 30 minutes. So the initial 30 minutes, we're going to be reviewing the concepts. We're going to learn something new. And the other 1 hour, of course, we're going to be practicing together because, as I mentioned earlier, practice makes perfect. And the only way we can learn how to code is if we practice a lot. There's no other way besides practicing. Watching a video, a tutorial, or reading is not enough. It's like math or when you practice a sport or when you play an instrument, you have to practice to actually learn. So this is pretty much what I had to cover today.